Hello, my legendary viewers. Today's video is about me going over the tank tier list for Mythic Plus from Icy Veins and some from Wowhead. I may or may not include healers in this video. I may make a separate one. I'll just see how long it takes me to explain the tank tier list. So here we go. Before I actually start though, as I said in my last video in the Mythic Plus tier list for DPS guide, all of this stuff is just flavor of the month, and just it really don't matter. Like, if you want to play Guardian Druid and they're at the bottom, you play that. The main goal of WoW is to have fun and not to have other people's like opinions and make it your own. So without further ado, let's go to the best one right now is Protection Warrior. Now, Protection Warrior, I've mained for about a year or two on some occasions. So it says in the 11.0.5 update, Protection Warrior will continue to perform exceptionally well in the upcoming patch and second half of season 1. Their damage profile and durability is considered one of the best across all tanks, which the major factor of ranking tanks. Spell Reflection is proving to be a useful utility in the Season 1 dungeon pool, which will positively influence their rankings. Additionally, with the strength of melee characters, Battle Shout is looking much more appealing. Overall, Protection Warrior has a great offensive and defensive profile, making the best choice for Mythic Plus. It has some cons though. As always, Protection Warrior may suffer if anything cannot be blocked or reflected, although their utility and mob control have never been considered the best. They make up for it with their raw power in terms of damage and survivability. Their core utilities are Rallying Cry and Battle Shout. Rallying Cry increases the health of your party members, and Battle Shout increases their attack power by 5%. In next place is Guardian Druid. I played Guardian Druid before, but I've never mained it, so I don't really know about this class. It says Guardian Druid barely received any changes in the upcoming patch leading to the second half of Season 1. Their damage profile against many enemies is one of the highest, and so is their durability. There are a lot of spec-specific talents that do not fit well with Guardian Druid and are considered a burden. In addition, their versatile utility can tackle any situation as both offensive and defensively support their team. All that considered, the Bears are in commanding position to be one of the best tanks of the season, despite its rotational flaws. Its cons are their hero talents are quite boring, mostly passive, and do not have a massive impact on the gameplay. Talent positioning is a significant issue for Guardian Druids, both in the spec-specific and general tree talents. Their core utilities are Mark of the Wild and Entangling Roots. Mark of the Wild increases the party's versatility for 3%, and Entangling Roots is a single target root effect. Next place is Protection Paladins. I've never, again with the Guardian Druid, I've played Pallies but never mained it. Protection Paladins, as with most every spec so far, Protection Pallies have received its fair share of changes, which still end up being a net buff, but only for their survivability, but also their damage profile. The spec's durability is now much better and strong enough to compete with the majority of the tanks while still maintaining their unique and sometimes overpowered Mythic Plus utility. In addition, their damage profile is quite impressive and is one of their strongest assets overall. We are happy with the direction that the developers have chosen for Protection Paladins, and we are happy to see them climb the ladder. They have no cons so far. And their utilities are Avenger's Shield, Devotion Aura, Hammer of Justice, Lay of Hands, and Intercession. Avenger's Shield is an extra interrupt. Devotion Aura is a permanent 3% group-wide damage reduction. And Hammer of Justice is a powerful single target stun for 6 seconds. Lay on Hands is a heals a member of your party member for their full health. Intercession is a combat resurrection. Next is Blood DK. Blood DK has put them in a prominent position to be a great tank choice this season, as it has most definitely strengthened their durability, self-sustain, and damage profile by a large margin. On top of that, they will be getting a brand new utility from the DK talent tree, which fits perfectly for a 5-man content, and that is Vestigial Shell. In addition, on one of their signature spells, Gorfiend's Grasp has been much better positioning in the new Blood DK spec-specific tree, and is further supplemented by Tightening Grasp if you talent it, which allows for a 3-second silence. They have no cons, and their utilities are Anti-Magic Zone, Death Grip, and Raise Ally. Anti-Magic Zone is an extra shield that you can place on the ground for your party members to stand in, and it shields them from magic damage. Death Grip repositions an enemies, and as you said, if you talent, it could silence the enemy, but it's 100% guaranteed that if you grasp an enemy and they're doing a spell that's kickable, when you grasp, it kicks and pulls. So that's good. And Raise Ally is a combat resurrection, and as with Guardian Druid and Prot Pally, I've played Blood DK but never mained it. And next is our Vengeance Demon Hunter, which will still poses one of the best mob control across any tanking spec in Mythic Plus, which will turn value for any team looking for a tank. Although their damage is great, their defensive profile must be further bolstered to be up to par with the rest of the tank specs. Overall, we believe that the DPS meta favors magic damage that will have a much bigger incentive to be taken due to Chaos Brand, which provides a noticeable damage boost for the entire group and likely become the best tank spec. Their cons is further buffs on their survivability are needed. They will still rise in rankings if you are playing a full magical composition team due to their Chaos Brand debuff. Their utility is Chaos Brand, Darkness, Sigil of Silence. Chaos Brand is 5% extra magical damage, Darkness is a % chance to avoid all damage from an attack, and Sigil of Silence silences all enemies affected by the sigil for a short time. And lastly, Brewmaster Monk. Unfortunately for the Brewmaster Monk, they have barely seen any meaningful changes leading into the patch. Overall, playing Brewmaster Monk will be easier than playing in Dragonflight, as many of the button bloating issues have been cleared, which is a welcome change. We expect to further buffs to bolster them already weak defensive damage profile, but we have seen none of it. At last, if you do play the spec, remember to always try to group up with physical-oriented setup, so you can get the best out of Mystic Touch. Their cons are further durability buffs are must before they climb the rankings. Their utilities are Mystic Touch and Leg Sweep. Mystic Touch is a 5% extra damage for your raid, and Leg Sweep is a 3-second stun. So, those are the tank tier list, I guess, for Mythic Plus. I will be going over the healers in this video because we are only at around 8.5 minutes. So, but again, whatever I said throughout this whole tank section is super opinionated and just some stuff, people putting stuff together. Ironically, I play the best tank that they say, but there's been times where it wasn't the best, and I still played it, and I still had fun, and I was still pretty much unstoppable. It's just you have to know what you're doing, and the most important aspect is you have to have fun. If you don't have fun, then you're doing your job wrong. So next is the healers. Now the healers is a bit of more longer list. We have 7 healers. So in first place is the Resto Shaman. And just to clarify, I have never played any healer, and I will never play any healer. So, because it's just a headache. I feel like it's a 10 times more harder job than tanks, and yeah, I'm just never going to do it. And if I am, somebody stop me, because I'm going crazy. So, Resto Shaman's received a few quality of life changes, which will help with the mana retention leading to the second half of the first season. Their healing has become much more efficient with several options for topping up health bars swiftly while taking damage. Stronger spot heal options and better defensive / group wide utility. Their new hero talents have significantly helped them close the gaps and elevate their playstyle compared to the previous expansion. If you are an avid Restoration Shaman fan, this will be the expansion to get back to it, as it currently ranks as the best healer in Season 1. Its cons is no strong external defensive cooldown outside of their long and powerful cooldown Spirit Link Totem, although it is a great choice with your team is stacked. A strong single target external damage reduction spell like the Druid's Iron Bark, which is a short cooldown, would be quite helpful. Their utility is Sky Fury, Bloodlust, and Earth Elemental. Next is the Preservation Evoker, which received little to no changes in the upcoming patch. They still have the shortest offensive and defensive ability range among all healers, which is a massive issue. Their performance, more specifically their damage and healing output, has been absolutely incredible and will continue to be so in the second half of the season. With that in mind, their HPS profile is still the strongest asset, paired with the great DPS. Both hero talents offer additional utility, adding flavor to the spec as a whole. Overall, they do not stand out to the best healing option for M+, simply because of how hard it is to make them work in a pug environment. This group awareness must be present for them to understand how your healing profile works, so you can unlock your full potential. Their cons are they struggle to heal when a group is not stacked, which can be problematic with several ranged DPS or uncoordinated groups. In addition, although their utility and mob control are great, they still suffer from a lack of fully ranged abilities, which can be crucial in tough moments. Their utility is Blessing of the Bronze, Tail Swipe, Wing Buffet, Expunge, Rewind, and Time Dilation. Next in place is Disciplined Priest, which received no relevant changes in the upcoming patch, leading to the second part of Season 1, which, with the most recent Priest buff to Atonement, their Mythic Plus performance will rapidly be improved, as having strong healing output was previously one of the weakest points for them. On top of this, they will retain their strong external utility packages in the War Within. Mobility and durability remain ongoing issues, as well as being one of the only healers in the game without an interrupt. This can specifically harm their weak mob control further due to the lack of interrupts, especially as Season 1 is shaping up to be a full of dangerous caster mobs. I didn't know that was actually possible. I thought every class and spec had a kick, so I would, as a noob, I would not go as a Discipline Priest. No cons, and their utility is Pain Suppression, Power Word Barrier, Rapture, Power Infusion, Power Word Fortitude, Psychic Scream, Mind Soothe, and Mass Dispel. Next is the Holy Paladin, which received their fair share of changes, which will make them better than they were in the previous patch. The new tier set will add more healing throughout throughput off cooldowns, addressing as previous issue for their spec, while also increasing their damage profile. There are no new changes for the M+ toolkit, but everyone knows that Holy Paladin has one of the best party-wide utilities, strong defensiveness, even an immunity, and excellent mob control. Overall, we expect him to continue to be a solid choice for a healer going into the second half of Season 1. Their cons are further buffs for their healing/damage output will likely result in them being considered for the S tier, as they have all the necessary tools to be a sleeper OP spec. I don't see how that's a con, but that's what they say. Their utility is Devotion Ore, Hammer of Justice, Lay on Hands, Intercession. Next is Mistweaver Monk, which received quite a few changes in the upcoming patch, leading to the improvement of their Mythic Plus performance for the second half of Season 1. Mistweaver's current HPS profile is amazing, as it can easily tackle and give an encounter in Mythic Plus while contributing to the team with its great damage profile. Yes, most of your damage still requires you to be in melee. All of this combined plays well with the strong utility package they offer, not only contributing a mob control, but also being a peel for your tank in dangerous situations with Ring of Peace. There are also physical damage-centric meta is being employed. As such, we are pleased with the current state of Mistweaver Monks, and although they are not the best, the spec is a great position. Their cons are Mistweaver Monk is still the only healer that does not have an external damage reduction CD to help support your team. Their core utilities are Mystic Touch, Life, Cocoon, Revival, and Leg Sweep. Next in place is Resto Druids, which received a handful of changes leading to the second part of Season 1. They will still have one of the weakest healing outputs across all specs, compensating with a great damage profile. Your defensiveness has gotten better while keeping your incredible party-wide utility unchanged. With all that combined, we believe further output buffs must be implemented for you to climb the rankings, as currently your healing is considered lackluster. Their cons, just further buffs on behalf of their healing capabilities. One of the hardest healers to truly master if you are a beginner player. Beware, aka do not go Resto Druid. Their utilities are Mark of the Wild, Entangling Roots, Iron Bark, and last but not least, the Holy Priest at the very bottom. Unfortunately for Holy Priest, they have barely seen any changes in the upcoming patch. They maintain their recent DPS and HPS profiles, but continue to face some limitations, low mobility and insufficient mob control. Additionally, they are one of the few healing specs lacking an interrupt spell, which make their mob control one of the weakest compared to the rest of the healing specs. However, it is noteworthy that this spec is considered one of the easier healing options due to its reactive healing capabilities, which are adept and at addressing any form of incoming or sustained HPS challenges, complemented by robust spot healing. Their cons is lack of an interrupt, exacerbating their already weak mob control capabilities, and deficient in strong mobility. Their cons, utility is Guardian Spirit, Holy Word, Symbol of Hope, Power Infusion, Power Word Fortitude, Psychic Scream, Mind Soothe, Mass Dispel. So, that does it for the tank and healers for Mythic Plus. If y'all have any questions or concerns, please drop a comment down below. And Z Digital, if you see this, water in the cup. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing anything on camera like that. But if you like this content, please like and subscribe for more legendary content like this. And tomorrow I will go over the DPS for raids, the best DPS for raids. So until next time, my fellow viewers.